Patsy, this offseason when you added weaponry and Johnny Gaudreau, I'm sure you started thinking immediately, what do I do with power play pieces? How do I put these places around? Can you talk about the Voracek to net front and what it's like to have a playmaker, and specifically him in that role, what your thinking was there and what you might like about it?
Yeah, well, before going there, what I did was studying what we did last year, what we did well, and what we needed to improve. And there's a few components of our power play last year that we needed to improve. Obviously, a guy like Johnny Gaudreau can make plays under pressure. He will calm the play. And the last goal is a perfect example. On the entry, he finds a way to create space. But the first step was to evaluate and understand what we did, what we needed to improve. And one of those things was to attack the net front a little bit more. Like, the movement is great, the motion is great, but at some point you need to attack the net front without turning the puck over. And Jacob is a big body. He's a big man, and he can make plays. He's a good passer. He's got good vision. So we'll see. We're evaluating right now. We know Johnny's going to be there. We know Patty's going to be on the other side, and Werenski running the blue line. But from there, it's we're going to test it out and look what looks the best. But tonight, Danforth was pretty good in the slot position, bumper position.
Johnson centering that line, and then on the power play, Danforth went in there. Was that face-offs? Was that one just wanted to start with the puck?
Well, face-off and position related. That's why.
With Johnson centering that line, big assignment for him. What did you make of his performance between the two of them?
I liked it. We today we talked about not so much offensive zone plays or offensive plays. We talked about D-zone coverage and neutral zone forecheck, and that's where my eyes were. That's what I was watching, and especially a young player like him, and I thought he did really well. He wants to play in the middle, obviously, feels comfortable there, and he did a good job defensively. We know he's got skills, right? We know he can play, he can make plays, but I wanted to see if how he would react between those two. And there's a factor to it. A young player like him, you can try to move the puck too quick because you have those two players on your line. I thought he was confident enough to hold on to the puck at times, so I liked this game.
Danforth ends up having a pretty solid performance, gets to 3 points. I know a guy that I think has really gained a lot of credit around here, the way he plays the game, the way he approaches the game. But he's got some offense to him that people might not necessarily expect. I mean, is he a guy, the more you see him, the more you like what he brings to the table, the whole package?
Well, we liked him last year quite a bit, and he just keeps improving. And we look at the results of the testings. He's one of the best. He's in phenomenal shape. He's got an engine. He can go. He's willing to go to the hard areas. He's got a good shot. He can play wing, can play center. He's got some speed. And he's got the right mindset. He wants to play the game. And it doesn't matter, PK, power play. He wants to play the right way. He's a player we started to appreciate more last year because we see him every day in practices and in games, and what you see is what you get. That's what he gives you all the time. Pretty impressive performance tonight, but not surprised.
Pascal, after the season that Voracek had last year for you, 56 assists, I think, leading point getter, do you feel you want to keep him on that top unit just out of respect for him, and his game and the career that he's had?
Of course, he earned it. But again, if we can have two units that can be effective, that's even better. We'll try to put our 5 guys. And sometimes it's not so much the skill level and what you've done in the past. It's the chemistry that you have at that moment or that year. So we'll test it out. We'll see. But he certainly earned a shot at that top power play.
And your top unit last year, most of the season was out for 130, 140 sometimes. By choice, by design, it seemed like. do you see a more balanced, get the second unit out there earlier if you're able to load up both units?
Well, so we're gonna adjust how the games are going. That's an in-game decision. Most of the time, I mean, the score will dictate a little bit of that. But we want a top unit that is dangerous. And part of it is the physical aspect of the game and the discipline. The other teams, if we have a top unit that is really effective, then they're going to be a little bit more careful. So there's a few components that are attached to that. But, I mean, you always want to be the top teams in the league. Their first unit is really dangerous, and that's where we want to go. But on top of it, if we can send a second unit on the ice that is dangerous as well, then we're in business. Yeah.
Clearly, one of those players on that starting front line was not as experienced as the other two, talking about Kent Johnson. What did you see with him, how he was able to fit with those two experienced NHLers in Laine and Gaudreau?
Well, I liked his confidence. I liked the fact, I was saying that earlier, I think sometimes a young player like him will try to move the puck a little bit too fast when he can hold on to the puck. Too generous. And I thought he did a good job tonight at managing his defensive game, because you have two guys that can produce offensively. So is Kent, but I thought he was doing a good job at not only supporting offensively but also defensively, and his mindset was right. I liked his game.